Okay, so let's look at the essay on education in schools. During the last decades, I prefer during recent decades, educational programs around the world have been scrutinized and criticized. I would prefer appraised there, being scrutinized and appraised or evaluated. I personally believe that more entertaining schools are urgently needed for a correct and healthier development of children. Okay, that's a clear argument. It's fine. This essay will analyse the advantages of an amusing school. Okay, now amusing means funny. I don't think that's what you mean here. It's not really the correct word. So you could say this essay will analyse the advantages of a school that focuses on enjoyable activities, using examples from scientific magazines and northern countries' educational systems to demonstrate points and support arguments. Okay. Firstly, the neuronal plasticity demonstrated during childhood is an ability that the human brain, delete being, the human brain losses you've put here, so it should be loses, loses progressively during the adult period or the adult stage. Okay. The capacity to learn new cognitive and motion skills reaches its highest peak when playing. This has been shown in recent studies, recent studies with functional brain magnetic resonant images, published in 2018 in the New England Journal of Medicine, proving a 50% higher enhancement of cerebral regions related to memory, such as the limbic system. Okay, I think I understand what you mean there. You're saying that the brain is at its greatest ability when young, related to memory. I think that's what your argument is there. That's okay. Therefore, it is during the earlier years that these synapses should be stimulated throughout, not throughout games, should be stimulated through the use of games and enjoyable activities or something like that. Secondly, the implementation of a learning system with an amusing approach. Again, you can't use amusing here. You could say an entertaining approach. Or I think what I prefer, the implementation of a learning system that focuses on enjoyable activities could, and foment is not the right word here, it's the wrong word, could encourage teamwork, facilitating the acquisition of social relationships and improving self-esteem. Yes, that's good. An example of this, not that, so because you've just mentioned it, so an example of this is a new method developed recently in Finland. Now, I don't think you mean pretend here, so be careful of your dictionary work. Do you mean that aims to integrate? That aims to integrate the best of each student. That would make more sense. Or tries to integrate the best of each student, easing the inclusion of children at risk of isolation, such as autistic or hyperactive kids. As a consequence, the classroom's atmosphere assures that every student participates as part, so delete A, as part of the team. Then that's fine. To conclude, from the examples and arguments given, that's just a typo, so the B should be a V. I strongly believe that, again, we can't use amusement here, and that entertainment, okay, or enjoyable activities, that entertainment should be inherent in every school program, I wouldn't use inherent, actually, it doesn't really fit. Again, be careful of your dictionary work here. I strongly consider that enjoyable activities should be part of every school programme, and I'm optimistic to think that in the future this will become a more generalised point of view. Okay, that's fine. I don't know, I mean, I actually think it is a fairly general point of view already, so I'm not sure about your last point, but otherwise it's fine. Okay, yes, you've answered the question, which is good. You've given a clear viewpoint and you've supported it. You've provided examples, quite specific examples, which are good. So it is a cohesive piece of writing. The main concern I have here is actually with the vocabulary. Be careful of your dictionary work. I would strongly recommend you use an English dictionary, because there's a few odd uses of words that suggest you're not using an English dictionary. So do think about that, and be careful of collocations, words and verbs that go together naturally. Okay, but overall, well done. Okay, moving on to the second essay about reading. Reading is a fundamental activity. Okay, we have to change this part. So it's a fundamental activity that is well known to, and I would change this last part as well, is well known to have many benefits. You can't say contribute with benefits. It doesn't make, it just isn't correct. So it's well known to have many benefits. Okay, I strongly believe that reading a book is potentially the best way to develop a child's cognitive abilities and imagination. That's a very nice sentence. In this essay, I want to analyse this issue using examples from important universities to prove points and support arguments. Okay, yes, you've given a very clear argument, so I can tell from your introduction you are going to support your argument that reading is the best way. Okay, so that's fine. Firstly, language is one of the highest functions of the human being, so add an S, and the ability that, okay, discerns is the wrong word, again be careful of your dictionary work here, and the ability that separates us from other, or distinguishes us. I think distinguishes would be the best word here. The ability that distinguishes us from other animal species. This is because different and sophisticated manners of communication have emerged among, delete the, and you don't need a capital letter for Homo sapiens, and it's one word. Okay, so among Homo sapiens. And the principal one is the competency of understanding what other human beings, because you've got other, it must be plural. It would be another human being or other human beings has written. Rather than the competency of understanding, I would actually say, and the principal one is the ability to understand what other human beings have written. As an example of its importance, recent studies carried out by the Stanford University, by Stanford University, showed that reading marked a milestone in the frontal lobe circumvallation development. Therefore, the formation of cortical networks is capital. I don't know what you mean capital. I think probably you mean essential or fundamental. Okay, but not capital. So of course is essential for, and delete the, is essential for communication, or fundamental to communication, whichever word you prefer to use there. Again, be careful of your dictionary work. You are using a few odd words like discern, capital, so do watch out for that. Okay, next paragraph. Secondly, interpreting a text requires an active comprehension, the possibility of structuring different thoughts, and a touch of imagination. Okay, that's fine. Because of this complexity, it is difficult to find another activity that activates such an amount of brain regions. Okay, good point. For instance, a recent retrospective survey published in the Times proved that adults who used to read during childhood achieved better job positions when, you'd have to say, grown up. Okay, not because, obviously not as they're growing up, because they'd still be children. So when grown up, or you could say when they become adults. This could be a consequence of repetitive stimulation of creative areas. Okay, so this could be a consequence of a repetitive stimulation of creative areas. Fine. Good, interesting example there. As a conclusion, from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that reading is one of the most complete and safe activities for children's cognitive development. Albeit, it is predicted that the proportion of children who read will diminish during the next 10 years, not following. Okay, good. All right. What the real positive of this essay is you have a very clear and consistent argument. You've supported it with some interesting examples, and you've made some very good points. The areas, again, as in the previous essay, just be careful of some of your your language, your vocabulary use. You do remember there is a criteria for vocabulary. So you can definitely increase your marks by just being a bit more careful with your choice of words. And again, I would stress use an English dictionary, so that the trouble is with translating words from your language into English is that they may not actually be appropriate. They may not be the right register, or they may not collocate. So you do need to use an English dictionary to avoid that pitfall, really. But other than that, I'd say very good essay, nice arguments in this essay, and you've definitely answered the question.